Thanks a lot. Hi, everyone. My name is Kannan. I'm working in the industry for the last 18 years. I'm into SCCM, Intune, and cloud platform. I'm taking care of the digital workplace service line as well. Thanks for joining for this meeting, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about a cloud management gateway. So hope you know what is a cloud management gateway is a new way to manage the SCCM clients over internet, right? Previously, we are going with the legacy method where we do have a PKI certificate and we are exposing our SCCM environment into the internet, right? So now it's totally changed. Microsoft bring it to the cloud management gateway connected with a config manager client. It's called as a PaaS, Azure Services, to manage the client on the internet. Okay. So hope you remember that in 2015, the Microsoft bring it to the SCCM current branch starting from 1510 onwards. They bought it at current branch moved from SCCM 2012, SP2 or SCCM 2012, SP1 or 2. Right, so they introduced the cloud management gateway in current branch in 1610, and during that time, it's a lot of difficulties to configure the cloud management gateway in the SCCM environment. So Microsoft worked hard, and from starting from 1806, the config manager team made it easy to configure the cloud management gateway on the console itself. Else, we have to register that app on the cloud and then connect it to the SCCM on 1610 or before 1806. Then later they changed a lot, so we can configure all the apps, means app registration using config manager console itself. Okay, and moving to the second slide. So how it will work. Okay, hope you everyone aware that client always push the policies from the SCCM server, right? So you can see the point. Okay, okay, that we always if you're using the cloud management gateway, we always need the service connecting points always in uh, online. Okay, yes, I do understand that some of the companies made it a manual upgrade or it will make one service connection point always online, but to use effectively cloud management gateway, the service connection point is always online. Okay, so how it will work it is, okay, whenever the client is pushing the policy from the cloud management gateway, it will go to the cloud CMG connection point. From the connection point, it will retrieve the policy either from the management policy or software policy. It returns back to the cloud connection point and through the cloud management gateway, and the client receive the policy. Okay. So always sometimes, right? Whenever the client pushing the policy from the cloud management gateway, okay, we ensure that services are healthy, okay, and ports are working fine, right? Again, now the new technology got introduced, I think, in the previous means, I think it's in 1910 or something. Okay, they introduced the HTTP enhanced HTTP's method as well. Okay. Do I am going fast? Please let me know. I can go slowly. Okay, so internet client, the internet connected SCCM client requests the policy from the Azure CMG cloud service. That's the first point. The second point is Azure cloud service forward the client communication to the on-premise cloud management point. The the CMG cloud service get the policy on the on-premise management point and SUP through cloud connection point role. The third point is CMG connection point role act as a proxy and build two-way communication channel between on-premise and SCCM, MPSUP, and Azure cloud services. Finally, the SCCM client get the policy and content from the Azure CMG cloud services. Okay. Moving to the next slide is support for configuration manager features. Okay, coming to the so after configuring the cloud management gateway or before configuring the cloud management, you see what are the features being supported. The software updates, that is a very important role to get the roaming device get patched. Even if they're not connected to corporate network or not connected to corporate VPN, the machine get patched. Okay, the Microsoft recommend, okay, do not distribute the updates content to the cloud management gateway because the cost get involved on it. Okay, for that Microsoft recommend to enable to configure to pre-configure the environment to download the Microsoft updates from the internet. Okay, for example, hope we all are into the COVID situation. All the devices are connected to the corporate VPN, right? So if you are distributing the content to the DPs, what will happen is, so for example, an user sitting in India, but the servers are in US, right? So all the way that content get downloaded from US server to Indian client machines, right? It will cause a lot of network bandwidth over VPN, right? In this case, right? So Microsoft requesting to do the tunnel splitting on the network end, on the Azure end as well. So directly the content get downloaded from the Microsoft website. Okay, the another one is a cost. Okay, if you're configuring the cloud management gateway and you are distributing the content to the cloud management gateway DPs, what happens is whenever the content get downloaded from the cloud DP, it get charged to the organization, right? To avoid all those things, so Microsoft is recommends to configure the tunnel splitting on the backend on your network side on your both on the internal network on the cloud network. It will save a lot of cost. Okay, the next one is endpoint protection. The next second one is hardware and software inventory. The next one is client status and notifications. Okay, this is one of the good advantage to see whether the machine is connected online or offline. Okay, you can run the script over internet. You can run the report using CC powered. You can configure the compliance settings, and you can automatically upgrade the client as well. For an example, if you're running an older version, means if you're running an 2103 version of MECM environment and you are upgraded to 2107. So how the client get upgraded if the machine is not connected to either corporate or VPN network, right? Means you can upgrade the client over CMG as well. Okay, and you can install the client over CMG. Means you can install the client over the Azure AD integrations, and you can install the client with token authentications. Okay, for example, okay, if you're running an autopilot, okay, you want to install the client on your environment, right? Because post provisioning or autopilot, the machine get uh, connected to corporate environment, but you're not connected to VPN, right? Using a cloud management gateway, you distribute the content to the cloud management gateway. You can have set up the parameters on the app, and it get downloaded the SCCM client content from the cloud management gateway, and it automatically connect to the cloud management gateway to get the policies. Okay, and you can do the software distribution device targeted, and you can do the software distribution user targeted required with AD integration. Hopefully we can see later in the sections. The next one is software distribution user targeted available all requirements, and you can manage the BitLocker management as well and pull distribution point source. For example, if you are in a hybrid mode and you are going to autopilot for the device management as well as app management, you can manage the BitLocker as well. Okay, these are the features added now into the cloud management gateway. Still, the Microsoft is working adding more features on the backend. And coming to the next one is not supported for the config manager features, right? You can't run any task sequence on the cloud management gateway. Yes, you can run the task sequence in the cloud management gateway wherein it's targeted to an application, not on the OS level. And you can't do any PXE or multicast enabled. You can't do the client push, okay, where you can install the client and you can't push the client, okay, and it won't have any automatic site assignment because it's always connected to the cloud, okay, proxy, and you can't do any software approval requests, and you can't connect to the config manager console. You can't take a remote. Yes, the remote tools, the Microsoft is working on it. So in future, the machine is connected using a cloud management gateway. You can take the remote of the machines. Hopefully it's added in the technical preview. I'm not sure, but yes, you're going to see in the next release or next to next release, the future get added part of the production. Okay, and reporting website, it's not going to work on LAN, MAC device, peer cache, on-premise MDM. Okay, alternative content provider, and it won't work for API streaming and Microsoft 365 application updates and prestige content. Okay, yes. Coming to the request, this is the very important stage where we can say that what is required to configure the CMG. The first point is, yes, the organization should have the valid Azure subscriptions to host the CMG. Okay, the account should be, okay, for example, when you are configuring the CMG, you should have the you should have the ID which has subscription owner and should have the AD global administrator rights. Okay, if you are part of the AD global administrator, you can't do the CMG configuration. Still, you need the subscription owner. And in the config SCCM side, okay, you should have either full administrator or infrastructure administrator access. Okay, and in your environment, you should have at least a Windows server to host CMG connection point. Okay, and as I said earlier, right, the service connection point must be always online mode. Okay, if it's online, you're not able to configure the CMG, and the management point needed to allow the traffic from the CMG. Okay, it is recommended, right? So for an example, like take an example, like I'm owning the single primary site. I don't have any secondary site. I don't have any additional management point. How do I do a configure the CMG? Okay, in this case, right, we are recommending to have an additional remote server to host, to install the MP point, to have a dedicated MP point for the CMG. Okay, I don't want to use, if most of the companies have a single primary site and having a single management point, so don't install the CMG on the single connection point to have. So you install the cloud management gateway point on the remote server to have a management point role and SPP role. Okay, and you do have, means next one is you need the certificates. Okay, either you have PK certificates, either you are having a internal certificates or you are having external certificates, right? You need the PK infrastructure, right? And you have to find the unique code service URL on the cloud, your subscription cloud, or you can check it in the free subscription cloud as well. You can find the unique name for your organization registrations, right? And last is very important. Okay, these services as a resource providers, Microsoft Classic Compute and Microsoft Storage, needs to be registered. Okay, or else you won't able to complete the setup of, you may be able to complete the setup, but it won't work. It's after completion of the setup, you get logs like it's not been configured successfully because of the Azure resource provider needs to be completed. Okay, so again, I'm going with the requirements once again. Okay, in Azure subscription is needed. Okay, you maybe have a single tenant or multiple tenant. Okay, again, you can host multiple CMG point in a single tenant. The next one is you need an Azure subscription owner access and as well as Azure global administrator access. Okay, from the SCCM side or MSCM side, you need minimum of infrastructure administrator access. If you're having a full administrator, well enough. And you need a dedicated Windows server to host the CMG connection point, and the service point must be an online mode. The management point allow traffic from the CMG, and you need a public key infrastructure. Okay, so whenever you're creating the certificate on the template, you should go with Microsoft recommendations, right? So the version certificate, if you're going with internal CA, the certificate to be a V3 or above V3, okay, and it should be having 2048 bytes. Okay, and it have a specific and you can, that's all. I think that's our minimum requirements for the server certificate. Okay, and if either you want to go with 1 year renewal or 2 years expiration, it's up to them, right? And whenever we are trying to import, ensure that you should have both the certificate to be imported, whether the certificate should have if your environment having intermediate and root CA, yes, you do have a proper certificate imported. Okay, and at last, yes, you need to be registered Microsoft Cloud Compute and Microsoft Storage to complete the CMG configurations. Okay, I'm going to the next slide is the network ports. This is very much important to go with the network ports. Okay, so what are the ports? Okay, there is no inbound communication, no ports are required within the Azure environment. Okay, because it's all are open when outbound. Okay, so when I'm trying to the service connection point, trying to connect the Azure environment, port 443 is required for the CMG configuration. The second one is CMG connection point virtual machine skit. Okay, it's required 443 CMG protocol to build CMG tunnel to only by one virtual instance. Okay, and if you're going for the multiple virtual instance, it's need an port starting from 10.122.4 to 101.39. These are all our TCP ports. Okay, CMG connection point for the classic cloud services for the single channel, it's need 10.140 to 101.55. Okay, and if you're going for the multiple VMs for the classic cloud service, you need a port 443. Okay, and if your environment need a fallback protocol, if we go, we need to be opened 10.124 to 101.39. Okay, and this all the service related from the config manager to the Azure. Coming to the client, as you know, right? It's same HTTPS and for 443 and management 443 or 80 if you are doing enhanced HTTP, and for the software update point you're going with 443 or 80 or going with 8530 or 8531. Okay, for enhanced HTTP, or if you're going with full HTTPS mode. Okay, as I said, no inbound communication where outbound communication network ports are needs to be opened. Okay, that might be a question. Okay, if I'm not connecting, if I'm connecting to the VPN, okay, still it's required. Yes, it's required, needs to be open. Okay, and coming to the next slide is the client authentications. Okay, this is very much important. As a client, the client that will connect to the cloud management gateway or potentially on untrusted public internet, right? So based on the client origin, they may need a very good security. Okay, there are three options to identify and authentication CMG. Either you can go with Azure AD or PKI certificate or configure managed issued certificate to get authenticated with the client communications, right? So if you're going with Azure AD, the Azure AD will issue the certificate. Azure AAD will issue the certificate to the client where the client easily communicated to the CMG environment. Or you can go with internal CA, or you have an external CA, go with a client authentication certificate to communicate it with the CMG. Or if you're going with enhanced HTTP, the config manager itself issue the site issued tokens will be updated on the client machines, wherein client will get communicated to the CMG point in the encrypted mode. Okay, the following table summarize the each key factors of this method. Okay, the first point is tools versus Azure AD PK environment site token. Okay, the config manager version. Okay, it will support Azure AD PK environment site token. Okay, Windows client version, Windows 10 or later, it will support PKI or site token, right? And scenario support. Okay, if I going with Azure AD, it will support user and devices. As I said, the deployment, right? User certificate or device certificate. Okay, and the PKI is a device only and site token is a device only. Okay, the management point, we can go with either enhanced HTTP or HTTPS for all three methods. Okay, And I'm going to the next. Okay, this is very much important. So how are we going to design the CMG? Okay, for example, how many cloud management gateway points will be needed for the environment? Okay, it's case to say case. Okay, so where can I configure the cloud management point? If you have a central site, or you can having a standalone primary site or a lab, you can configure the cloud management gateway. Okay, you can't configure the cloud management gateway on the secondary site, or you can't configure the cloud management gateway, which is a management point connected to the secondary site. Okay, and one CMG connecting point can support up to 4 VM instances. Okay, and this is about the scaling and how it will get communicated, right? And another one is one CMG support up to 16 virtual VMs, which means you can have 4 VM instances. Each VM instances have 4 VMs. Okay, and each VM instances, each virtual machine can support up to 600 clients. Okay, if you're going with the hardware specific, right? This is a classic one. Okay, and starting from 2107 later, the visual scale set, or if you're going with a lab B2 uh, Azure, it will support up to 10. If you're going with the standard A2 V2, it's support up to 6,000 clients per VM machines. Okay, and if you're going for the larger A4 V2, it will support up to 10,000 clients. Okay, so for example, I would say that, okay, I have 20,000 machines. Okay, how many VMs instance are required? Okay, you can need one VM instance with 4 virtual machines are part of it. It's easy to manage the environment. Okay, for high availability of the support, create CMG with at least 2 VM instances or 2 CM connections on per site. Okay, what happens? Okay, I have only one virtual machines. Okay, wherein I have only one virtual machines. Okay, oh, one virtual instance or one virtual means one virtual machines. Okay, I have only after 6,000 clients. What will happen? Okay, nothing going to be happen. Okay, it wait for it. Still, it will still handle the request. There might be a delay on the request end. Okay, and coming to the next slide. Coming to this next slide is, okay, in 2103 and earlier versions, CMG use as a standard V2 VM. The VM is not configurable. Okay, starting from 2103, they have introduced 3 VM sets. One is lab B2S and standard A2 V2 and large A4 V2. Okay, so I will explain about what it has, what is the memory, and what is the cost now. Okay, and the only disadvantage is once your VM size is designed after the deployment, you can't change the VM size. Either we have to delete the configuration and need to do the reconfiguration. That is a one disadvantage we do have it. Okay, so let me pause the screen. I will open another window to show you about the virtual machine cost, okay, and how it been costed. Okay, so when coming to the CMG, right, whenever we are doing the cost factor, right, so as I said, there is no inbound cost, okay, where there are cost involved on the outbound traffic. Okay, for example, I have a client, take a client want to communicate. Client is not connecting to the corporate network and it's always connecting on the roaming internet, roaming client, right? So whenever the client trying to communicate with the CMG, okay, and the CMG trying to communicate with the on-premise management point of software point, right? The request in and out, right? It get charged by the Microsoft. Okay, you are deploying some software using you're distributing a software. For example, you're distributing about take a Google Chrome. It's a 60 MB and of MSI file. You're distributing the Google Chrome on the applications to the cloud management point, DP, right? Whenever the client is downloading 60 MB, okay, it get charged to the Microsoft. It's get charged to the organization by the Microsoft. Okay, so whenever you are planning a CMG, okay, ensure that how are you going to handle the charges. That is very much important for it. Okay, please give me a time. Let me pause this video and I'm going to share the cost, how it get charged. Okay, so if you have any questions, I will answer at the end of the sessions. Okay, so and the next slide is, let me go with the next slide is, okay, and the recent update, right? So beginning from 2107, okay, it's not no longer as a pre-release feature. Okay, so it's mandatory to configure the cloud management gateway on the, it's not a pre-release feature. Okay, it's available whether you want to configure it or don't want to configure it, up to organizations. Okay, and so starting from 2103, so you are not able to configure any cloud based distribution points. Okay, to want to go with to want to provide the content to the internet based device, you have to enable the CMG to distribute the content. These are the recent updates from the Microsoft side. Okay, and I'm coming to the cost factor. Let me share other one, other screen. Please give me a minute. Okay, so as I told, there are three types of virtual machines are going to introduce from 2107, right? This is a B series. Okay, and you can see the whenever you want to choose it, okay, you can see how many virtual CPUs needed and how many memories needed and what is the temporary storage of SSD, and you can see max, you can see the base CPU preference of the VMs, maximum how much you can utilize instead credentials, credit banked hours, okay, maximum data flow, right? This is, I would say, this is for the lab purpose, right? You can't go with, if you're going for the production, I would go with starts with A2 versions, right? So this is having very limitations. Okay, so if you go with organization, I would recommend to go with A2 versions. Okay, let me go with A2 versions. You can see, okay, so you can see have a vCore 1 processor. They have memory of 2 GB. Okay, temporary storage, they're giving 10 GB. Okay, and if you're going with the maximum storage throughout input and output read speed is 1020 and 10. Okay, and maximum data disk throughout the input output processes, they are giving this much, and you can see maximum NIC cards they are giving to 2, and expected network bandwidth is 250 Mbps. Okay, so if you're going for a higher configurations, right, so then it will got changed. Okay, if you're going with, for example, that's most of the companies are going with standard uh, okay, A4, right? A4 VM V2 means it's coming with this is the new one, right? So it's coming with the A2 is getting over. This is now A4, right? A4 is coming with us 4-core processor with 32 GB memory. Okay, temporary storage they are giving. Okay, the temporary storage, which means you can't distribute the content to the DPs. Yes, it's a very low disk space, right? If you want to have additional disk space, you have to procure additional SSDs. Okay, you can see the max temp storage throughout speed is they're giving input output processing of 4000, and reading MBPS is 80 and writing MBPS is 40 MBPS. Okay, and max data disk is 8. and 80 to 500, and they're giving maximum 4 NIC cards. It will handle the better load. Okay, expected bandwidth 1000 Mbps. Okay, it changes a lot of examples. Okay, so this is what you can go with A2 series or A4 series. Okay, it depends on your organization, how many clients being supported. It will be helpful for it. Okay, so coming to the price calculator. Okay, let me show you. Okay, if I go for here, a virtual machine got added over here. Okay, you can see here. Let me see. I do have a lot of disk space. Let me remove it one. Can I remove that? Yeah, I'm going to remove that. Okay, if I have a virtual machines, right? Okay, see again, region, which region you're going to use the CMG. That is very much important. Sorry, guys, I don't have a lab with me now. I have issues with my lab. Let me explain you. Okay, in theoretical way, probably it will helpful for you guys when you get into the productions, right? So where are you going to host the virtual machines, right? Or CMG? By default, when you're configuring a CMG, it will ask for the region, right? If you're going to ES, you can see United States have these many data centers. United Kingdom, they have 2 data centers. Arab country, they have 2. Switzerland 2, Sweden 2. So you can have Europe, Norway, East, West, Japan, India. We do have Central India, South India, and West India, and Germany, France. Okay, we can. Okay, for example, okay, if we go to the East US, okay, I'm selecting the Windows OS only. I'm going with standard. Category is all. Okay, here it's instance. Okay, if I go with the A2 instance, okay, here if I selected A2 instance, they will give a RAM size. Which one I want to go with that? For example, I'm going with, take a simple one. Okay, I'm going with one. Okay, you can see on the saving cost, right? Okay, whether you want to go with pay as you go, or you want to go with 1 year or 3 year subscriptions. Okay, see, pay as go, whenever the disk has been utilized, that it get charged by the Microsoft. Okay, or you can go with 1 year. Okay, I'll go with 1 year reserved. Sorry, it's not coming up for it. This one as a pay as a release. Let me go with this one. This all are pay as go only. I'm not getting, okay, average per month. Okay, you can see here. If I go with basic one, it's $31. I'm not getting an option to select it. If I get hybrid, okay, license included, I'm going to license included. So the total cost of the pay as go device is $31.39 and OS cost is 16. Okay, it's total $47. Okay, then going to the managed disk. Okay, if you're going with standard hard disk, okay, the size is 32 GB. Okay, for that they are charging $1.536 per month. Okay, I'd go on the SSD. I don't want to go with a standard hard disk because it's the speed will be low. Okay, I'm going with LRS, and I'm going with, what is the size I'm going to see. If you want to go with, at least you need 512 GB, or it depends, right? Based on your organization. Let me go with 512. Okay, so it's get added at 38.40. Okay, and again, you're going with storage transition. So let me transitions. Okay, at the time I can go with 100. Let me go with the default one, or I go with 1000. So if a transition, it's not going to change much. Okay, and I'm going to bandwidth. Okay, outbound traffic, 5 GB data. Okay, it's very less. Okay, I would say support included or not included, standard or professional direct. It depends. Okay, I would say support included. You can see per VM, it cost about $49 or close to $50 per month as a standard one, right? Whenever you are increasing your configuration, it get changes. Okay, see, wherein the configuration part, wherein it's not a complex, wherein come the cost fact, it's a factors, right? So whenever you are doing a CMG configuration, you are going to give additional cost to the company to pay to the Microsoft. by using the service, right? If you're not configuring the CMG, it's not required, right? So you have to provide the estimation how much it's going to cost to the company from the Microsoft. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting 49.50. Okay. If I'm changing my service, for example, if I want to go with 8 core 16 GB RAM, because I'm having at least, if I am having 20,000 clients in the environment, I'm going with and if I change my virtual machines as 4, right? Because one machine can handle. If I change my virtual machines, so you can see the cascade changes. And you're going to Microsoft going to charge only for the virtual machine is $1,000, $1,050. Okay. Additionally, okay. If I change my for example, I need 1 GB, everything going on a cloud, right? It get changes. Okay, and later and additionally, the outbound traffic will get cost. Okay, outbound traffic means this is all virtual machines within the cloud environment. The Microsoft going to charge additional money. Okay, from the client side to the server communication, CMG communications, right? There, the an extra cost will be charged by the Microsoft. Okay, so whether you want to say for if you go on the US dollar or Indian money, or if you go to euro, it's up to you. It's based on the company, right? For real-time scenarios, most of the people are working for the US customer, right? Okay, data transfer in is free. Data transfer between the availability zones is this much. Within, okay, so as I said, within the zone, it's totally free. Within outside of zone, it's cost. Okay, and intercontinental zone, eager syndrome. This is very much important for us through ASP. Okay, see, for us, we are going with either Microsoft Premium Network or routing preference to ISP network. Okay, whenever that data get transferred, okay, per month, per device, it get charged. Okay, so we can't give the this is a charge by Microsoft, but whenever the client get communicated how much in an average, think about an average per day, per client get communicated only. I'm telling about the only communications, right? Only communications, right? If you go for a 1 MB file or 2 MB file of communication, okay, think about you are having about 10,000 clients. Think about how much it's get communicated, right? Definitely it cost about it's cost about additionally $200 to $300 per month additional, an average. If the content being downloaded by the client from the CMG gateway, it's get additional cost, right? As I said earlier, okay, if you're having a Google Chrome, and it's a 60 MB file get downloaded to all 10,000 machines. Okay, think about the cost get to the company. Okay, so this all are important while doing the CMG design. You have to calculate how many VMs you require, how much it get cost, and how much the network bandwidth and average it gets cost on the internet egress. Okay, so let me see whether you have any questions I can able to answer it. Thank you so much. I don't have much questions. Okay, so I'm going through one more time with okay, coming to the as I said, how it's getting communicated. I will show you. Okay, about what is a unique cloud service URL. Okay, for example, this is a page. Okay, if you go to the cloud services, right? If you have an account, right? If you go to enter your DNS name, right? It's needed whenever you're going with the company. Okay, it's a unique name. For example, now everyone is configuring the company. So I'm work for the Microsoft India, right? I will say MS India. If it's present, I can utilize the name. If it's not present, I can choose the different name to configure the cloud management point. Okay. You can see ABS name. It is not available. Say if it's available means you get a tick mark. If it's not available means it will say the DNS name is not available. Okay. And again, create a storage. Again, this is what I'm trying to say about what kind of a device you are going to use it. Okay. This is the price calculator is different. Okay. And this same to be charged with your Microsoft. Okay. Whenever you are changing with a model, Azure hybrid benefit, you're getting a license. License means you're getting to additional cost. Okay. Again, if you're going with the 2 VMs, automatically the price get reduced. Okay. 2 virtual machine to 1 month, it's 525. It's come all together 525. Okay. And if you're going with the high disk, it'll get added. Okay. And again, it depends on the region. If you want to go with West region, I'm not sure the price is changing or not. I don't know. Okay, probably if you go with Europe, UK South, you can see the price got vary. Okay, it's on US dollars. Okay, if you say UAE, the price get vary. Let me put on India. Australia Central, the price get vary. It's based on the region. Okay, the price get. Okay, again, coming to the point, right? Okay, how can I select the region? Okay, see, for example, the well-known as US, right? Okay, you have 2 data centers in US. Okay, it's same price, I think so. It's change vary. Okay, you came to know, right? Your users, your company where is hosted, and your users where they are, right? Suppose again the network speed, right? Okay, a user from US, okay, but sitting in India, but trying to access the content, whether it goes to India data center, no, it goes to the it will goes to the US data center only. Okay, so the accessing from the US data center way, it's a long. Okay, again, it's if you have a high internet bandwidth, it's not a problem. If you have long bandwidth, it's get delayed to download the content or for the communications. Okay, the same like the data, how much the data being transferred, that's also get cost. So for while implementing it, so for example, your company is in east side of the US, okay, and you can, and most of the users are on the east side of the US, you go with east side. Okay, if a company is western part of the US, you go with the western part. Okay, giving a real-time example is our India. You can see they have 3. One is central, one is south, one is west. Okay, see, for example, we are a part of either from the southern part of India, right? I would recommend to go with the users part of the South India, right? Of the western side, they go to western side, right? Same way we have to configure your CMG. Okay, so I have the users both, take a US scenario. I have the users both west side as well as east side. It's across the US. Right, what I would recommend is go with one CMG point with East Coast, another CMG point with West Coast. Okay, and yes, as I said, whenever you're doing an application deployment, ensure how we are going to take it up. Okay, for an instance, okay, one, as I said, the Microsoft patches, right? You can have a VPN tunnel splitting, you have an exclusion, you can download the content from the Microsoft, right? The same way, Google Chrome, right? That is one of the vulnerability. Every month they are releasing about 3 to 4 versions of the Google Chrome. Okay, not a major version. Major version, it's taking a month or 2, and at least a sub version getting released. And sometimes, especially for the Chrome and Mozilla, they are having a vulnerability issues, right? They are giving a 0-day patch as well, right? For those, we may have a group policy configured. We can deploy the update via group policy. Again, for that, you have to have the VPN tunnel splitting configured, right? For Chrome and Mozilla, it won't get downloaded. It won't come to your corporate network for verification. If you have a tunnel splitting configured, it will directly download it from either from the, for the Google Chrome, it get downloaded from the Google cloud, and the Mozilla, it's downloaded from the Mozilla cloud. you are saving a lot of cost, right? And it having effective deployment, right? So that's what. Okay. So do you have any questions now for me? Okay. Okay. A person has asked config manager. Sorry, it says anonymous. Okay, config manager enhanced HTTP does not require any certificate for setup. Both server and client certificate is not required. No. Okay. For enhanced HTTP, okay, you doesn't need a certificate for the client side because the client side certificate will be issued by the config manager. Okay, for the server side, yes, you do need a web server certificate which has the server authentication classifications. Okay, hope I answered for it. Okay, the certificate part is very much important, right? As I said, right? Okay, most of the companies having internal certificates, wherein other companies having the external certificates, right? So whenever you do a certificate part, right? So you go with the Microsoft recommend. As I said, it's need 2048 bits, and it should be a version 2 or I think more than version 3 or version 4 certificate needs to be needed, and it's always in a PFX format. Why it? Because the PFX format have, if your company having an intermediate certificate or some companies not having an intermediate, they having a root certificate, go with the PFX format. Okay, and better to have every 2 years renewal instead of having every 1 year renewal. Okay, and it's need an enrollment state as well, so it's required, right? Yes, if you're going with enhanced HTTP, it doesn't need because SCCM will issue the certificate to the client. If you're going with HTTPS, yes, you need a client authentication certificate on the client side. It is hosted on a personal store, get authenticated with a cloud management point. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of the sessions. Okay, do you have any questions? Please let me know. I can answer it. Okay, so coming to the part is, as I said, right, the important part is what are the futures going to support, while what are the benefit going to get by the company by doing the CMG. Okay, the one is you can keep your environment to up to date by having the CMG configured, the machine is connected to corporate network or not. Okay, the reason is now the most of these are working in a remotely, right? Not sure all the users are connecting to the VPN. Most of the users are not connecting to the VPN. In this case, if you're having environment not having HTTPS or not having CMG, definitely those machines will not get patched either by SCCM or through HTTPS connected management point or SUPV. In this case, the CMG is strongly recommended to get patched the machine to make that machine as non-vulnerable. Okay, so as I said, easily you can do the software deployment, you can manage the endpoint production, and you can do the hardware and software inventory, and you can check the client status and notification. You can run the scripts, and you can install the client. If you're going for the autopilot, CMG is required to do the autopilot, and you can manage the device. If you configure the co-management, you can manage the device both Intune as well as config manager client. You can manage the loads. Okay, and you can deploy the applications either through CMG, um, through either through a CMG or through the what is called, sorry, into the software center, SCCM, or you can deploy the applications via Intune. Okay, and thank you so much for your time, and thanks for your patience to listening. my presentations. So I'm going to hand over to Deepak. So meantime, I'm placing Deepak's going to take care of the next sessions. Okay, and thank you so much for your time.